Hello and welcome to AP Computer Science A with the Arupe Virtual Learning Institute. My name is John Maxwell. Today we're going to go over one of the week's assignments, the Virtual Pet Activity 3. And I invite you to go ahead and log on to AP Classroom and take a look at the assignment. And then, you can return to the video at this point. But I'll read the start of it, okay? Which is we're going to implement a virtual pet class based on the simplified version of the original Tamagotchi virtual pet. And as a personal note, I had kids with a Tamagotchi virtual pet, and they fed it and they played with it and they kept it alive for as long as they were interested in it, and then they got bored and perhaps the pet passed. But here we're going to model it in our Java code. So let me read. The virtual pet will maintain its happiness and energy levels as it's played. And they must include instance variables for the pet's name, energy level, happiness level, weight in grams, age in years, and age in months. The virtual pet class must include a constructor that is passed a string parameter that stores the name of the pet. It may also include the following methods, and we really won't, look at those methods until a second from now. And so what happens is I have a virtual pet file here, and I'm running in Visual Studio Code and the virtual pet runner, and I've already uncommented it all out last night when we went in the class, and those people have this assignment already done, I suspect. But we need to make no changes to the virtual pet runner, so just put it in the same folder as the virtual pet or in the same location, and when you work through the problem you'll be able to complete it. So let's look at the virtual pet and the instance variables that they're talking about. They talked about energy, weight, age in years, and months. Okay, so the instance variables would go here, and they have a private scope. Okay, so I'm just going to tab them over and notice that those are the instance variables. Energy, happiness, weight, age in year, and months. And all of those are appropriate to the class, okay, as described. It also called for a constructor. A constructor doesn't take a return type, shares the same name as the pet. Okay, so I'm just going to use the autocomplete, and the narrative says it takes a string argument. And so what I'm going to do is say this dot name equal name. And we had some conversation about what this meant last night. Notice that there is a parameter string name in the constructor on line 7. And there's also one up on line 5, which is the class instance variable. In order to distinguish one from the other, we refer to this dot name referring to the class instance variable, meaning this, the object itself, and its member name. And name, the second part here, is attributed to the parameter. So when there's confusion about like which variable is which, in order to refer to the class instance variable or the object itself, you would refer to it as this dot name. And the purpose of the constructor is also to initialize all the variables. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly type those in, okay, and tab them over. And I'm going to say it's equal to 5 because we don't have a minimum weight yet because we haven't read that part. So we have the constructor completed, okay, and we have the instance variables. And those are two important parts of the object, you know, what properties it, or attributes it has in its instance variables, and each instance of a virtual pet will have their own values in these instance variables. And we also have a way to construct the object. So turning back to the assignment, we would also say that we need to work on some of these other methods: get name, toString, feed, get energy level, get happiness level, play, and update status. And there's some examples of where these might be called. And it also says try now in part A to implement the get name and toString methods. Okay, so that's pretty easy. I'm just going to shift back to there and say public string because it's going to return a string. It's an accessor type variable and it will basically return name. Okay, so that was really easy. Can you write an accessor method? It simply returns the value in any one of the instance variables, and in this case, name. Now, the signature, the method signature for a toString method is always the same, and it is automatically called by the systemout.println, and what it provides is a string representation of the object. In this case, it's a string. And so I'm going to just copy something from a completed assignment I came prepared today, and I'll tell you it returns a concatenated string with new line characters /n put in anytime you want like a new line to appear, to force it down to the next line. Put a /n, a \n, not a /n. But I'll show you where that came from. Okay, it comes from here, right? Bubba toString, and it says it will return Bubba's information, new line, energy, new line, happiness, new line, weight, new line, age, and years. Okay, all on one line, the age and the years. And so you have to be careful if they're going to ask you, like in IMAX or on the AP exam, for a specific output. You do have to be careful. So I know a lot of you don't like the IMAX trickiness of it, okay? But we now have a toString in our class here. So let's see if we can compile it. I know I took all the comments out yesterday. Okay, so I still have it. Let's see where the problem is. The problem is what I was just writing. Come on, let's go. I don't know how that is missing. Okay, so let's run it now and see. I think it should. Okay, so it's asking for a lot of things that have been uncommented out. So, I'm not going to run it for now, but you can trust me that it would work. Okay, if I had recommented out the things that should be commented. Okay, so that's pretty good. Okay, let me switch back to the assignment, and we'll go back and look at the B assignment here. Okay, so I'll go to B and say, let's add 3 more methods to the virtual pet class. And I'll give you some time right now to pause the video and go to the B section. Methods for feed: get energy level and get happiness level. So we'll do feed last of all, but get energy level and get happiness level should be pretty basic, okay? And so I'm going to simply take a look and put them with the other accessors here. So when you ask for the energy level, it's going to return the energy level, which is a instance variable. Look at me lining these things up all carefully, okay? And it'll return the happiness and energy levels up here, okay? Basically accessors, all right? So when they're called in the virtual pet runner, there will be something there. But let's go back to the assignment and see what we need to know about the feed method, okay? Well, let's read about feed. Here we're feeding it a lot. It doesn't take a parameter. You can kind of tell there. Every time it feeds, it increases the energy level by 1 and increases the weight by 1. Is that it? Okay. All right, so let's scroll down and see. All right, well, it will give you a thing. The energy level must always be in the range of 0 to 10. Okay, so I think this is the time to go ahead and talk about some other things that we need. Okay, and let me just put them there and say up here we're going to talk about what's going on here. Here we go. Took them a second to do that. Minimum weight, which I skipped over in the part A. It said the minimum weight is 5. So like I just kind of like hard coded it here, but that's not appropriate. We'll go ahead and change that to the constant. So somebody asked, what's final mean? And it's like, it's not like when your mom said, and that's my final word on the subject, okay? It actually is that it can never change, okay? You can work on your mom through your dad or like vice versa, or just they may change their mind, okay? But final in Java means it won't ever change. And static means these apply to every instance of a virtual pet, okay? And while they don't technically share, that value, because each virtual pet is its own, thing, it is useful to declare them as static. And the maximum level is 10. Okay, so what happens is, going back to the assignment, it begins to make sense. The energy level must always be in a range of 0 to 10. So we need to increase the energy level, okay, when we feed up to and including 10, and then the weight level goes up, and there's no maximum weight level, there's just a minimum weight level. And later on, when we do the play method in part C, we will be losing weight because we're doing activities, and we'll also be losing energy. So play is the opposite of feed, okay? But let's look at feed, okay, a little bit, okay? Which is a pretty basic thing. And we'll put the code in and say, how about this for feed? Well, it would help if I brought over the constructor public void feed open paren, close paren, set brace. Okay, we'll just get rid of that one, and we will tab, because we're all about like tabbing. Tabitha. Okay, so that's pretty good, right? If energy is not equal to the maximum level, which is 10, and that's the variable we just declared, then we're going to increase the energy by 1. And in all cases, the weight goes up. So the more we feed, we could actually get quite a fat little virtual pet. So that's something to think about, right? And that works, and that is all of part B. Okay, get energy level, get happiness level, and the feed method. So we've completed part B, and so we'll go and finish up on part C. Okay, as a reminder, in play increases the happiness by 1, but decreases the weight of the pet by 1. So, like most pets, the more you interact with them, the happier they are, but like they're also expending energy, okay? So the weight goes up by 1. So the happiness level must always be in a range from 0 to 10 inclusive, and the weight of the pet must not fall below the minimum level. So it sounds like when we do the play method, we have to have guards in it to make sure that we don't go past those minimums. And this is pretty simple. Okay, again, all right. So we'll go take a look at the code here. All right, I will end it right here and paste my previously done code here. Okay, from last night's class. It's a bonus. Okay, so again, I just move them over because I like things lined up. And here we have the play method. All right, which is if happiness is not equal to the maximum level, again, happiness can't go past 10, okay, then we'll increase it. And we'll decrease weight down to the minimum weight, which is a previously mentioned 5. So these should be pretty simple to implement. They're simple if statements, okay? And obviously, both of them have to execute. They not set up as if else ifs, such as we covered in the fall. So expect when you write classes, which is always the second question of the FRQs part 2 on the AP exam, you will be responsible for implementing a class, and in that class will probably be some basic concepts like what we covered in semester 1. Well, there's one more method to cover, and that is the update status. Well, in the runner class, it'll be called every 10 seconds. And the update status, is kind of like when my kids put the pet down and left it there. It decreased happiness on a regular level all by itself and its energy level. And the energy and happiness must always be in a range of 0 to 10. So this will also increase the pet's age by 1 month. And if 12 months have elapsed, then the years should be increased by 1 and the months should be reset to 0. So that's where like that game part is. The longer you can keep your virtual pet running and happy and alive, then you win. Although there's no real winner, I imagine somebody now has had this Yamagata pet running for like 25 years. What a battery. Okay, so let's go look at that. Update status. Again, it sounds like a series of if statements. Okay, and that's what it is. I will again show it to you right now. Okay, so we're down here and we'll go with the update status. And again, just tabbing it in, you can do that in Visual Basic. It fixes it. If the energy level's not at its lowest level, 0, decrease it. And if the happiness is not at its lower level, decrease it. And that's just what we read. Increase the months, and if the months hit 12, then increase the age and years and set the month back to 0. So update status is pretty basic, and as far as I can tell, there's nothing more to this class. So let me just go over here. All the comments have been taken out, okay, and we'll run it. Okay, so we have a virtual pet at the out. We created it as Coco. You can read the runner on your own, okay? The energy, happiness, and 0, and the weight is 5, and not born at all, okay? So I'm just going to get, I put the 1 there. Not bad. I'll put the 1 here and output it. So it's been updating while I've been talking, so it's now 2 months old, okay? So that's that interval thing. And now it's 4 months, and let's do some feeding. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, so I'll hit 1 for it, and I get energy level up to 6, but the happiness level hasn't gone up because I get happy when I play with the pet, or the pet gets happy when I play with it. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay, and then taking a look at the pet. I now have a pet that's pretty happy, but the energy level does go down. And the weight stays at 5 because, or goes down to 5 from where it was before because I've done some playing. Okay. Well, I think it's kind of useful to conclude in this area, which is that there's some interesting scans and imports up here. Scheduled executor service, meaning it's going to execute the update status method on a regular basis. And what would that be? Okay, the regular basis would be the interval in seconds. Okay, so every 10 seconds it ages a month, and we kind of looked at that. Here's where we create it. That's the call to the constructor. Here's where we call the update status. So we schedule it at a fixed rate, and it's not part of the AP curriculum, the scheduled executor service class. So, but I'm glad they're showing it to you. Anyways, this was a file that was given with the assignment, so you didn't have to make any changes. And when the program first runs, we get the pet, and we have a choice, okay, which is get a choice. Well, choice isn't 4, okay, which concludes the program. Then what we do is call a get choice menu, which is a neat little method up here. This is the menu, get choice. So it'll call that. And this is print pet. Again, the purpose of a method is to, impart avoid repeated code. So as long as you're playing the game, you want that menu to appear, and here's the virtual menu. and it returns the int, which is the choice out of the menu. And I think that's pretty good design. And it runs while the choice is not for, right here, quit. And the picture of the pet, which is sort of like a little weird, but yeah, here we go. If choice 1, system out, print. If choice 2, call the feed, you have fat, Coco. If choice 3, play, you have played with, Coco. Get energy level greater than 5 and happiness. Go ahead and print out the emo with a um, a smile. If not, print the pet with a frown. Okay. And then print the name in uppercase, a choice. And then call the get choice menu again, okay, right here. And don't forget to shut down the scheduler after you type 4. So let's do that, okay. I'll stop and run it again. And I'll shut down the scheduler in a second. Oops, I keep on typing up there. I used to laugh at my teachers when they did that. Boop, 1. Okay, happiness level 4. Shut down the scheduler. Thank you very much. The game is over. So I hope this is useful. I'll attach the files that I started out with here in the video to the message to the class. It will be in private videos, so I don't want like other classes or students to be able to look at it. It's exclusive to the AVOI, so you'll have to use the link from the email in order to access it. It won't be visible in my channel, quote unquote. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it, and reach out if you have any questions.